it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and I found an article for us to have a look at. It's about Star Trek, obviously. The article is from Slash Film, and the title is Why Universal, the studio, allegedly tried to sink Star Trek Next Generations before it even released. So it's not exactly topical news, is it? But, I thought it might be interesting to have a read. So, before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already, and then, fingers crossed, YouTube will let you know when I go live or do a new video. My cat's just run past me. I'm also on Rumble and Spotify and Twitch for my live streams and stuff. And Facebook and X and Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Links are in the description for all that. The link for this article is in the description as well. As I've linked to my 2 books, Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs, and Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats doing nefarious E.T. things in a North Yorkshire village. It's a bit of fun. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Links are in the description for those as well. Right, let's have a look at this article. Here we go. Spladosh, there we go, from Slash Film. I bet it's Whitney. Yes, I was going to say, I bet it's Whitney Seabold. Yes, it is. Right, why Universal allegedly tried to sink Star Trek Generations before it even released. And there's Captain Picard and Captain Kirk on the bridge together. I bet that we're in the marketing somewhere. We need to see Picard and Kirk on the bridge at the same time. I bet it were. Or maybe they thought, aren't we being clever? But I like Generations, just not the version with Captain Kirk in it. Sorry. I've got my own version, my own edit that I did, that I essentially took Kirk out of it and changed some other things and redid the beginning and the opening titles and all that. Took out the bit with the Enterprise B and all that. But that's just my edit, and it makes a good feature length. It's like an hour and 23 minutes in total. So it's like essentially a 2-parter TNG episode with all the Duras sisters doing their stuff and blowing up suns and all that. Dr. Soren and all that. Just without Kirk and the Nexus and all that. But just without Kirk in it, because I didn't like that he died in it under a bridge. But anyway. Right, let's have a read from Whitney Seabold. As I said, Trekkies who were there in 1994, that's 30 years ago, blimey, may remember the incredibly fast turnaround for Star Trek The Next Generation. The final episode of the series, All Good Things, aired on May 23rd, and the first feature film adaptation of the show, Star Trek Generations, was released in theatres on November 18th. In the intervening 6 months, Trekkies would be able to tide themselves over with 10 new episodes of Deep Space Nine. Even though a seminal TV series in the Star Trek universe was coming to an end, there was no drought to suffer through. It was the golden age, essentially, wasn't it? The 90s of Star Trek. I said we had TNG, then we had DS9, then we had Voyager. And in the early aughts, we had Enterprise, which, arguably is not arguably at all. It is actually my favourite Star Trek series. It's the one I rewatch the most. I love Enterprise. I don't know why it gets all the hate. Right, both Paramount and Star Trek executive producer Rick Berman were feeling apprehensive about Generations. One can see their apprehension in Berman's choice of story. Thanks to a magical temporal nexus, Captain Picard, Patrick Stewart, was able to meet up with Captain Kirk, William Shatner, who was presumed dead 87 years prior. The two of them teamed up to fist fight a mad rocket scientist, Malcolm McDowell, who wanted to destroy an inhabited planet. This passing the torch story was wholly unnecessary. Actually, no. Well, yeah, he did want to destroy an inhabited planet. Not the one he was on. I think the one that we're on, Viridian 3, Vorstajar Viridian. Viridian 3 was uninhabited. But I think, was it Viridian 2 or 4? One of the, I can't remember. That were inhabited by a pre-industrial civilization or whatever wanted. Anyway, whatever. Right, this passing the torch story was wholly unnecessary for Next Generation, which had established its own identity perfectly well over its 7 seasons. And they'd done the passing the torch at the end of Star Trek 6, with the final voiceover, where it said, you know, excuse me, my legacy, our legacy, will pass on, you know, to a new crew who will go on new adventures and discover strange new worlds and boldly go where no man or no one has gone before. And that was the passing of the torch, wasn't it? So they didn't need to do it again. It was a marketing thing, wasn't it? Get Kirk in. Everybody knows Captain Kirk. So maybe the film will do better. Would it have done as well without Kirk in it? Probably not, to be honest. But anyway. It seems that Trekkies didn't like the story, even at the time. There's a link for it. What does it say? Star Trek Generation's most useless Star Trek movie. That's what the link says. According to the oral history book, the 50-year mission, the next 25 years, from the Next Generation to J.J. Abrams, edited by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross. I wonder how many articles, internet articles, have been, you know, pulled from that book. It's mentioned everywhere, and I've not got it. I'm going to have to look for the bloody thing. Generations didn't test well. During the early test screenings on the Paramount lot, which featured incomplete special effects, which is usual with, you know, test screenings, and the temporary music track, again, which is kind of normal, audiences responded negatively, feeling that the last 15 minutes were bad. Paramount would be comfortable if Generations had tested with a 90% approval rating. It was much lower than that. Reshoots were needed. It was then that Universal got involved in a minor smear campaign. Don't look at Waterworld. Remember that film? Anyway, there's Lieutenant Commander Data and Captain Picard in Astrometrics. Well, the first time we saw it, I think, was in Next Generations, which was a cool room. But anyway, it's commonly known that many films, especially big Hollywood blockbusters, I don't know why they couldn't just go to a holodeck, just Astrometrics in there, but it had its own room. It's commonly known that many films, especially big Hollywood blockbusters, often undergo reshoots. Sometimes an error will be found in editing, and the filmmakers have to go back and fill in a few moments of visual exposition they had forgotten. Technically, no, that's a pickup shot, isn't it? Reshoots are when you go in and either add new sequences or, you know, reshoot sequences. But stuff like that, repairing, you know, correcting mistakes and stuff like that, or doing shots off hand, picking up things. They're what's called pickups, aren't they? Pickup shots. And every film budgets for those because they're expected. Which is why you often see hands picking things up that look nothing like the actual character, because it's usually not them. It's usually not the actor doing hand shots, you know, picking things up. It's a bit like Thunderbirds, isn't it? You see the puppets, and then you see them pick something up and it's a real hand. I'm not saying that, it just reminded me of that. Anyway, whatever, I'm waffling. I forgot where I went now. Often certain scenes aren't working well and sections of a movie will be rewritten. It wasn't good news that Generations was testing poorly, but it certainly wasn't a scandal that Rick Berman felt the need to reshoot the final 15 minutes. Regardless, the press began to zero in on Generations as ripe for salacious reporting. The 50-year mission posits that Universal was secretly driving the negative press. It seems that there had recently been a large migration of workers from Paramount to Universal, and the ex-Paramount employees were bitter about their old workplace. Some, it was theorised, might have even hated Rick Berman personally, seeing as he had so much control over Paramount's biggest entertainment franchise. And to be honest, thank God he did, because he kept it on an even keel, and he stuck to, most of the time, stuck to Gene Roddenberry's ideal of what Star Trek was. Not all the time, but anyway. And he was, I think he was behind having things for the dads, such as, you know, Dax, 7 of 9, etc. to Paul. Something for the dads. As such, the Universal employees decided to leak stories about how Paramount was in massive trouble and how Generations was going to be a major bomb. It's worth noting that Universal was already providing material to the scandal sheets with the trouble production of Waterworld. That film was notoriously expensive. I think it was something like, this is in 1994, like $130 million or something like that. I think it was the most expensive film ever made at the time. I could be wrong, but it was round about that, I think. And it wasn't a flop. Everyone thinks, oh, it was a massive flop, but it wasn't. It actually did quite well. I think it did, it did okay. Anyway, that film was notoriously expensive and required new sets to be built repeatedly after the old ones sank into the ocean. They kept being told, apparently, did the producers, don't film it on the ocean. Film it in a tank and we'll add the ocean in after or whatever, But they went for authenticity. Good for them. That's what I say. Good for them. They had a vision and they went for it. Shooting off the coast of Hawaii. See that. Who spells Hawaii like that? I know that might be the way the Hawaiians spell it, But it's like it's all this with these. I'm sorry for going because I'm an old man. Why do we keep having to change names of cities and stuff around the world? When did Bombay become Mumbai, and when did Peking become Beijing? I know the people live there, it's their right to change the name of the city that they live in, but bloody hell. And I'll never say Paris, I'll always say Paris. And Kiev, it's not Kiev. But that's just me, I'm an old man. Right, shooting off the coast of Hawaii cost way more than anticipated, and the talent spent far too much time on accommodations. Universal likely wanted to deflect the negative Waterworld reporting toward Paramount's troubled production. Generations experienced no major delays and ultimately only cost $35 million. Oh, the days. The days when a Star Trek film could cost that. And it still could, to be completely honest. You don't have to spend pushing $200 million on a Star Trek film, like JJ did. The scandal is forgotten. Waterworld, meanwhile, there we go, cost $175 million. It's recalled to this day. And it's a good film. Go and watch Waterworld. It's a decent film. Not perfect. Kevin Costner's a bit beige in it. But, it's a fine film. It's a good film. Generations did fine, and so did Waterworld. Don't listen to the hype. Anyway, that's cool. There's the Duras sisters, Klingon bird of prey, firing at the Enterprise D, because they get the spoilers. They get the shield frequency of the Enterprise, because it's just there on a display. Thankfully, shield frequency, whatever it says, and they're using Geordie LaForge's visor to get it, and so they can just get through the Enterprise's shields, and the Enterprise is destroyed. Blah blah blah. Right, Universal's efforts didn't work. While Generations needed some retooling, it wasn't a troubled production, as reporters like to say. Internationally, Generations made about $118 million, and the sequel, Star Trek First Contact, was released in 1996, which was the best, in my opinion, of the TNG movies. Waterworld, meanwhile, ended up making an impressive $264 million, mitigating a lot of its unbearably large cost. Yes, it did okay. It probably made its money back just about for a film that cost that much. That's okay. The only major scandal of Generations is, well, it isn't very good. Pretty much. As mentioned, the story involved passing Trek's legacy from Kirk to Picard, when that had already been done 7 years earlier. The script is also strange, and the story is not terribly interesting. This had nothing to do with reshoots and everything to do with the script. The film has a 48% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I challenge you, says Whitney, to find a Trekkie who names Generations as their favourite of the 13 Star Trek movies. Yeah, I don't think you'd get. There'll be somebody that it's their favourite, won't there? Because every film is somebody's favourite film, even if it's the worst film ever made. Somewhere in the world, it'll be their favourite film. But anyway, indeed, none of the 4 films based directly on Star Trek: Next Generation are outstanding. No. First Contact is pretty damn good. Even though it's an action film, it's not. Even though it does have its Trek moments, but it's just an action film. When all's said and done, and only one of them. Oh, there we go. And only one of them, First Contact, was a notable hit. Indeed, 2002's Star Trek Nemesis remains the lowest-grossing Star Trek movie, even not adjusted for inflation. It seems Next Generation operated better on the small screen. Yeah, it probably did, to be honest. It looked nicer. On the big screen. Looked darker on the big screen, didn't it? The bridge was always dark, but it was always brightly lit. for TV. But Star Trek Nemesis, yeah, it may be the lowest grossing, but I really like Star Trek Nemesis, apart from the Mad Max Dune buggy sequence. But the rest of it, I like Star Trek Nemesis, and I still think it's got the best space battle in Star Trek. That's even including what we see on Deep Space Nine, which had some spectacular space battles towards the end of the Dominion War. But I love the space battle in Star Trek Nemesis between the Enterprise D, the two Klingon warbirds, and the Scimitar. It's a great sequence. Anyway, this non-scandal should remind readers that up-to-the-minute news about blockbuster reshoots isn't a sign of scandal, failure or trouble. Many films undergo reshoots. Most films undergo reshoots at some point, sometimes even extensively. Look at Rogue One, for instance, and still come out okay. Your favourite films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have all undergone reshoots. Yes, sometimes the reshoots are so extensive as to be a cause for concern. The new Captain America, I can't remember what they're going to call it now. Is it New World Order? Or is it the other one? I can't remember what they call it. Maybe that's going to tell us. Oh, the Marvels underwent 4 weeks of reshoots. Was it enough? Don't know, I've never seen it. And I probably won't. But know that trouble productions aren't as common as the discourse might have you believe. Well, it's bums on seats, isn't it? In a reporting way, it clicks, or reads, or magazine sales, or whatever. That's what it is, isn't it? They go for that. They go for the hyperbole. Does reporters? It's kind of like paparazzi trying to get that one photograph. So it's the same in articles, whether in magazines or online. They want to get that headline that gets eyes on it and goes viral. Essentially, that's what they're after, isn't it? And we've all done it. I've done it myself. I've done a clickbait title before, because you never know, but it doesn't work for me because I'm not interesting enough. So there we go. So they tried to sabotage. It doesn't say how. Pardon me. It doesn't say how what they did really, apart from saying that Generations were in trouble. But what did it say? I forgot again. Universal was secretly driving the negative press, and workers had moved from Paramount to Universal and were saying bad things about it. But what were they saying? I don't know. There's no link. There's no link. But it's in that book, The 50-Year Mission, which I'm going to have to find. I'm going to have to find it. Let's have a look, see if we can. Is this going to go to it? Isn't it? Just bear with me. I'll just take that off a moment. There might be an edit here. Right, here we go. 50-Year Mission. We'll do this as live. Is it from? Can you get it from Amazon? Oh, there we go. There we go. How much is it? Is it an expensive? That's a bloody Kindle. I don't know. I want the Kindle version. Is it that one? Paperback. 50-Year Mission. Yes, it's this one. The next 25 years from the next generation to J.J. Abrams. How much is that? Where are we? Where is it? Paperback, £22.49, bloody hell. I could get an audio book with a membership trial, obviously, from Audible. The Kindle edition's £8, which is better, isn't it? It's better than £23. The hardcover's £30. Don't ask me what that is in American money. We're not that far off, are we, these days? It'll be a little bit more. I bet it's about $25. Does it say? Hang on, let me keep going back. Never mind. 50-Year Mission. I'll put Amazon.com or Amazon US. See what it costs in America. Is it going to see? Still showing bloody. Oh, there we go. There we go. What are you doing? Why are you asking me to type letters in? To show that I'm not a robot. I'm rubbish at these, I am. Right, here we go. What is it in America? Yes, the paperback's $26.12. The hardcover's cheaper in America, $25.99. On Kindle, it's $11.99. So there you go. I just thought I'd share that with you. But I might go back to that. I might get it on Kindle, to be honest. For £8, I might get it on Kindle. That's the wrong one. There's two. By the way, there's two versions of this book. There's the 50-year mission from the first 25 years. So that's like the original series up to, I don't know, TNG or whatever. 66 to, what is that, 25 years? 66 to, well, that's before then, because the Cage were made in 64, wasn't it? So it might be 64 to, I don't know, what's that, 89. So it'd be up to the first couple of seasons of TNG, wouldn't it, as I imagine. Or up to the release of TNG. The development of the original series and the release of TNG, there's probably about 25 years between them, isn't there? And it cover the up to Star Trek 4, I imagine, wouldn't it? In movie terms, I suppose, I don't know, I'm waffling, I've not read it, but that's $7.93 on Kindle. You know what, I might get them both, sod it. You know, people say, I'll prefer a proper book, but, you know, they're expensive, aren't they? But anyway, right. And you know what, I probably wouldn't read it. I'd forget about it. I do that. Anyway, we'll leave it there, whatever. Right, I'm waffling, so I'll make myself big. If I can find the bloody thingy. There we go. Spladosh. There I am. With me sci-fi quest, with me Yorkshire flag there in the background. It's a private thing. Whatever. Recorded videos, eh? It's not live, but who cares? I don't care. Other YouTubers would edit out all this stuff. Not me, can't be bothered. Right, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.